telling you guys this because I care about you. And I want you guys to know that the world can be a terrible place, and there are, in fact, snakes in the garden, and you always have to be ready. I lived in England for a little while. Hang on, that's not the worst part. They put ketchup on their wings. I'm telling you this because I want you to know what you're up against in the world. This is the evil that you're going to have to face in your generation. My grandparents had to face down the Nazis. My generation had to face down the Soviets. You guys have to face down people who put ketchup on buffalo wings. And they call it spicy. You have to be able to communicate your ideas so that you don't feel so damn alone all the time. That's how you connect with people, by communicating with them. Think about the people in your life who you feel even a connection with in some way. They probably speak to you in a language that you can understand. And I don't just mean like English, Spanish, French, whatever. I mean they speak to you in a way that it just speaks to you. Even if you don't necessarily understand everything that they're saying, there's just something where it speaks to you. You maybe think, I'll understand this someday. Even if you don't understand it at a conscious level, maybe at an unconscious level, you understand. Because the truth is that we understand way more than we know that we understand. That's why it's so deep. Then we can't explain it. We're like, I don't know, I just can't explain it. I don't know how many of you have ever found yourself in that position where you're just like, I just can't explain how I feel. I can't explain what I'm thinking. I can't explain what I'm going through. Here's the deal, man. There's nothing that you're going through that other people haven't gone through in their life. Doesn't mean they've gone through exactly the same thing, but very similar. Like, oh, you've experienced loss. I've experienced loss. But it's that ability to communicate it. That's what bridges those gaps. You know anybody who you're so close with that you guys, you don't even have to fully explain. You just like look at them and give a nod and you both know what the other person's thinking? You guys are so close that you finish each other's sandwiches? At the end of the school year, I'm going to give you guys a paper called Suggestions for a Sensible Life. It'll make sense when we get there. And one of my suggestions for a sensible life is try French fries with mustard. Trust me on this. Trust me on this. Have I ever lied to you?
I agree with that.
Yeah, try it. No, yeah.
I feel like that's only good for you since you can't taste much.
Yeah, but what can I taste? So this is interesting. What can I taste in that?
The mustard?
Yeah, the mustard. I love mustard. I love mustard. Now, as far as I'm concerned, Europeans can go back to hell where they came from because they eat French fries with mayonnaise. Right. Yeah, I don't know how we left that continent after 2 world wars and let them keep mayonnaise. If that's what they were going to do with it. We should have taken that mayonnaise and just said, you guys, you're not ready for this power, and taken the mayonnaise with us and go back every few years to take it. I mean, and that thing that French fries aren't even theirs anyway, that's us. But they love mayonnaise with their French fries. Yeah.
Isn't there a thing called like banana ketchup?
Yeah. Oh. All right.
How is the creator not being summarily executed for that?
Right. Because here's the thing. Stand by. So when you buy ketchup, it says on there tomato ketchup. Do you ever wonder why? We wondered the same thing last week. We were looking at this bottle and we're just like, why does it say tomato ketchup? I'm like, that's a good question. Let's find out. Dr. Scanlon. And we look it up because ketchup is, what was the original ketchup? Oyster ketchup? Is an oyster sauce. Yeah, ketchup isn't tomato based. Ketchup is the type of sauce. It can be banana ketchup. It can be oyster ketchup. It can be, there are all kind of, tomato ketchup didn't start until like the mid-20s, like the 20s or 30s or so. Yeah, the ketchup that we just assume like this is what ketchup is. No, it's a particular type of ketchup. It's tomato ketchup. Now, unfortunately, we don't know anything about oyster ketchup because all the people who ate it were killed. Same with banana ketchup. They got what they deserved. So now we just we run the world now with tomato ketchup. Thank goodness. And tomato ketchup is fantastic until, I'm telling you guys this because I care about you. Now, I want you guys to know that the world can be a terrible place, and there are, in fact, snakes in the garden, and you always have to be ready. I lived in England for a little while. Hang on, that's not the worst part. They put ketchup on their wings. I'm telling you this because I want you to know what you're up against in the world. This is the evil that you're going to have to face in your generation. Yeah. My grandparents had to face down the Nazis. My generation had to face down the Soviets. You guys have to face down people who put ketchup on buffalo wings. And they call it spicy. I'm not making a word of this up. I went to the market there one time because I was looking for food. After being there for a while, I completely understand why they went and colonized the rest of the world. Their food sucks. They were looking for salt. They literally fought wars over spices, the British did. They're called the Spice Wars. You can go look them up. Because they're sitting there and they're just like, this food sucks. And they looked up and it was always raining, so they're like, let's go someplace else. That's how the British Empire starts. And I went to a market. I was much like the British. I was out trying to find food because their food sucks. All I could ever find was Pizza Hut, but that's another story. I went to a market and they had wings there, and I asked the woman, "Are these spicy wings?" And she says, "Oh, they're very spicy." I'm like, oh. I don't know why I said Irish, but I guess because the British should be Irish. History just didn't work out that way. And she gave them to me. I got back to my place and I ate them. It was ketchup, man. And for them, that was spicy. Yeah.
Was it good though?
No. Yeah, he asked if it was good. No, it was terrible. It was terrible on a physical and a psychological level. I'm scarred still talking about it. Because it looked like it was going to be spicy. And I was just like, no, it was just watered down ketchup. That's why it looked like a hot sauce. Yeah, and I can't smell very well, so it wasn't like I could smell the spices. No, I ate it, I was just like, yeah. They were so bad, I this is true. I took them to the sink and washed them off. And then dried them off with a towel and ate them, because I was just really hungry. That's how bad this stuff was. Now, is anybody in here willing to say you want to put ketchup on your wings? Yeah, even if you were, you would probably be like, oh, I'm not saying that. Anybody here put mayonnaise on your fries? You what? You put mayonnaise on your fries? Well, that's what I'm asking. And then, even if you did, you'd probably be like, no, there's a picture of you eating French fries with mayonnaise. It was a bet, okay, I lost a bet. I imagine lots of you lost bets last week. Now, am I right, Corey? You know what I'm talking about. Yes.
Have you ever tried ketchup on pizza?
All of us say that.
First off, hang on. I'm going to point something out. Say it again. Say it louder.
Or like I've seen people like ketchup on the pizza.
On what? Hang on. I'm going to make a point. Ketchup on what? Say it again.
Pizza.
Pizza or pizza? There's no K in it. I've had people correct me. I say pizza. You mean pizza? No, pizza. Pizza.
How do you say pizza?
And then, by the way, as we're arguing about pizza, poor Leggy is over there who lived in Italy, who's sitting there going like, there's no pepperoni on pizza. Pizza doesn't have pepperoni on it. I spent some time in Italy. I only found pepperoni pizza one time in all of Italy, and it was in a tourist trap. They don't put pepperoni on their pizza. Right? And you guys were looking like, what? Well, I said, what would they have put on it then? Cheese. Pizza margherita. Yeah. So it killed me about Italy. They give you, like, here, you come to the U.S. here and you buy a plate of pasta. There's enough for like 3 meals. Or one, if you work hard and believe in yourself. But over there, you buy a plate of pasta. It's only like this much pasta. We're putting like 2 fists together and going, that's as much pasta as you get? And you're like, yeah. Why? Because in America, we want pasta. They give you pasta. It's just a meal. I'm like, no, it's more than a meal. It's a test of courage and perseverance. So the point is just that if any of you were going to eat oyster ketchup, or mayonnaise on your French fries, or mustard even, you might be thinking like, I would never say it in this class now. Because what happens if you say it in this class? That's inadmissible. It's invalid. We are willing to do terrible things to you if you do that. Yeah.
So basically what you're saying is the UN should put sanctions on Italy.
Yeah. If they haven't already, they should. Absolutely. Yeah. Anyway, because what happens if you eat, I don't know, oyster ketchup in here? I'll throw a bag of weed in your bag. I'm going to tell the administration that you were trying to sell it, and I'm going to give everybody in here an A for backing up my story. You're going to jail because of your tastes. Yeah, I guess it could be worse because you could have views about other things. And think about we're staying away from the scary stuff in here, there's stuff like, all right, we'll get into scary stuff. All right, how many genders are there, guys? 2? Do I hear 3? Do I hear 4? Do I hear? Yeah? Abortion, legal or illegal? What do you think?
Yeah, legal.
Moral? Actually, even better yet, moral or immoral?
Immoral.
You guys can let him get away with that? Yeah. Who are we voting for in the next election?
Trump.
Who are we? Yeah. So you go down this line of things that in classes we think of as being controversial. And there are things that a lot of times we just don't want to share them because we're thinking, I don't know if I want to share that because, it might offend somebody. Well, yeah, but don't all great ideas offend somebody at some level? Because all great ideas that overturn old ideas, they exist because the orthodoxy exists because it serves us. So then, in other words, it's working for us. And then when someone comes along and says, let me change this up a little bit, all of a sudden now that unsettles it for everybody for whom it's working. So you have to convince people to change those ideas. It's a hard thing to do. Because again, most people, what do we want to do in life? We just want to wake up, exist, hang out with our friends, hang out with our families, not have problems, not go through issues. And then there's always that one person over there who's poking you and agitating to try to change things up. It's like, I don't want to get involved in that. Because if I get involved in that, then I have to, ditch my time with my friends and family and my hobbies and the things I enjoy. What was the one that you mentioned yesterday? Oh, Israel and Palestine. So, who's right, who's wrong? Let's get into it, okay? And there's a reason, by the way, which is interesting. I have this reputation of being somewhat controversial. Have I talked about any of those issues with you guys this year? The ones I just mentioned? But somehow I have the reputation for being controversial. At the same time, I know you don't have to raise hands, but I wonder how many of you have teachers who do talk to you about those things and push you very hard in very specific directions. And I know it because I've seen it, I've heard it. Literally, I've been in the room, I've heard it, I've seen it. I've seen the social media posts. They exist. And if you're somebody who's in that classroom and you feel like, I don't agree with this teacher, or I don't agree with this person, then maybe there's a hesitancy there because you don't know if your grade depends on it and how much your grade depends on it. Or worse yet, what about the people, because if the person who's in charge in the room is supporting something, the people who agree with them rally behind them, it can feel like you're the only one who holds those views. And so if you're the only person who holds those views, that's where loneliness can come from. It's that last part down there, holding certain views which others find inadmissible. It isn't just the things that you do, it can also just be the things that you think, the ways that you see the world, the opinions that you have. And you can, if you're the only person, or at least if you're not the loud one who's talking, it can start to feel like you are the only one. And if you're the only one, it can feel like, well, maybe I just see things wrong. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe there's something wrong with my view. And we could be more concrete about that. Any of the issues I just mentioned, you'll notice that people with the perspectives that you were just saying are usually the quiet ones. No, I think that's what you're going to find a lot of times is that, yeah, if you have a view, even if it's a controversial view, you're not the only one who has it. You might be in a minority of people who have it, but you're not going to be the only one who has it because none of us are so original that we're the only ones who have these ideas. We can just feel like it. And being vulnerable enough to put yourself out there to share an idea, that's the scary part. It's that vulnerability. And the vulnerability is something that can dog people to an extreme level. It's like being self-conscious. To be self-conscious. What does it mean to be self-conscious? To know what you're doing. To know what you're doing. Ultimately, that's the foundation of it is to just be aware of yourself, to be aware that you exist. But you'll notice if I said to you, I had a student who was feeling self-conscious. Typically, we think of that in a bad way, like, they were worried about themselves. No, it just means that they were aware that they existed. But we associate self-consciousness, self-awareness with a negative thing, usually an awareness of our own vulnerability. Like, I don't want to say something because I'm just self-conscious about sharing my views about this. That means that we're nervous about making ourselves vulnerable to the views of everybody else, and by not just the views of everybody else, but the judgment of everyone else. Because even if you're a disagreeable personality, which I'll talk about in just a minute, even if you're a disagreeable personality, we do like to get the affirmation of others, the validation of others, just to know that there's not something so strange and uniquely wrong with us. And to come along and be like just now if I had said to you guys, I like mustard with French fries, and you guys were just like grabbing pitchforks and everything, and if there was one person who was like, it's good stuff, Scanlon. Just one person. I'm like, yeah, that's right. Because one person with another person, now you've got a tribe at the beginning of something. And then once two people try, some of you will be like, that's weird. And then later on today, you'll find yourself in McDonald's. It was so weird. He said that he likes mustard. I'm going to try it just because it's funny. Just to make fun of it. Let's just try, just make fun of it. And you'll be like, oh, that's weird, right? And like 2 years from now, you'll be talking to people. Trust me. Mustard with French fries. I thought it was weird also. But you'll never feel that way about mayonnaise and French fries. You should never even try that one. Exactly. Because that's just weird.
Okay, I'm weird.
See? We got one.
Hold on, I'll admit it right now.
Yeah.
But we don't call it mayonnaise.
Who are we? Who's this group that you brought to our shores?
Come on now, because I love sauces. I like to dip. Okay? But I don't dip mayonnaise. No, it's aioli.
That sounds like some kind of a communist word.
Aioli, all the different aiolis, that's just flavor. It's spiced mayonnaise. Because we can't eat just mayonnaise here. We're spicy. Right?
All right, I've heard enough. Let's get her. All right, you guys all saw it, right? She was selling weed. All you A students saw that, right? Yeah, so those are the views, man. Sometimes they're small things, but this is the thing that strikes me. I don't think I did it in this class, but in my classes, usually beginning of the year, I ask if why are we here? Why do we take this whole English language arts thing? And sometimes we'll say just things like, it's for a better future, like whatever that means. We don't really mean it. We don't really understand why we study language. Like why? And this really got to the core of it, man. Because you have to be able to communicate your ideas so that you don't feel so damn alone all the time. That's how you connect with people, by communicating with them. Think about the people in your life who you feel even a connection with in some way. They probably speak to you in a language that you can understand. And I don't just mean like English, Spanish, French, whatever. I mean they speak to you in a way that it just speaks to you. Even if you don't necessarily understand everything that they're saying, there's just something where it speaks to you. You maybe think, I'll understand this someday. And you think about those ideas, because even if you don't understand it at a conscious level, maybe at an unconscious level, you understand. Because the truth is that we understand way more than we know that we understand. A lot of the things that hit us at this unconscious level. That's why it's so deep. Then we can't explain it. We're like, I don't know, I just can't explain it. I don't know how many of you have ever found yourself in that position where you're just like, I just can't explain how I feel. I can't explain what I'm thinking. I can't explain what I'm going through. Here's the deal, man. There's nothing that you're going through that other people haven't gone through in their life. Doesn't mean they've gone through exactly the same thing, but very similar. Like, oh, you've experienced loss. I've experienced loss. But it's that ability to communicate it. That's what bridges those gaps. To say, here's how I was feeling. Here's how I am feeling. Here's what I'm thinking. Be clear about it. But that's this thing. It's the other side of the scale that makes it difficult. The person you're talking to has to be able to understand it as well. And so what do we say about our best friends? They get me. They understand me. They can relate to me. So it's not just what I can say to people, it's what they can also understand. You know anybody who you're so close with that you guys, you don't even have to fully explain, you just look at them and give a nod and you both know what the other person's thinking? You guys are so close that you finish each other's sandwiches?
I don't use sentences with God.
Sentences? What are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense. How could you finish the person's sentence?
By finishing it.
What's that from? It's from,
Present.
what's that? It's from the movie Frozen. We finish each other's sandwiches. Anybody seen Frozen? How many of you have seen Frozen? Okay, then you get it. I've never seen Frozen. I just know the line. But that's the thing. I don't have to see the movie. If you said to me, me and my friend were so close, we finished each other's sandwiches, I can laugh at that. Now, having never seen the movie, because I also have I don't have a shared experience with you, but I have a shared understanding of you. What that means is that I don't have to go through the same things that you went through. If my method of communication is strong enough, I can make you feel like you've gone through it. This is what a great author does. This is what a great speaker does. Now, if you've gone through it and you can communicate it, man, those are the people you feel really, really close with. Or better yet, the people who can express with words what you're feeling better than you can. And we have words for those people. Musicians, singers, songwriters, artists. They seem to be able to communicate the things that we're feeling and thinking better than we can. And then we learn to, hopefully. Because otherwise you're depending on somebody else to communicate for you or to think for you. I don't mean to make you think, but they're going to, for example, if we were talking in this class about, who are we going to support in the presidential election? Are we going to support Harris or Trump? Someone say it. I don't care who. Pick one. I don't care. Pick who? Trump. Okay. So now everybody. Okay. Well, then we're supporting Trump because only two of you answered. So now I go back to the principal and say, my class supports Trump. And you might be there but I don't. But you didn't say anything. You didn't express anything. You didn't put your ideas out there in the world. So now the very few people who did speak now speak for all of us. This is the danger of not speaking, of not saying what's on your mind. Yes, because. Yeah, because who you are, that's who you are. Your ideas, your thoughts, your feelings, your psychology. And if you never speak it, it never enters the world. That means you never enter the world. That means other people have entered the world because they're communicating themselves, and then they're going to take you and they're going to use you to represent them. A whole group of us now support this one person. You didn't say anything. It doesn't mean you have to go and pick a fight with everybody and stand up for yourself constantly. Always say this, always say that. But have the ability to so that when it matters, you can. When you're talking to somebody and you want to tell them how much they mean to you, communicate. And communicate in a way they can understand. You want to tell somebody how much you love them? Communicate with them in a way that they can understand. You want to tell somebody how angry you are about something? Communicate it in a way they can understand. That's what we're doing here. We're learning how to bring you into the world. Nothing less than that. That's what we do with this language arts thing. Teaching you how to bring yourself into the world in a way that you can be understood and known and not feel so damn alone. Because however you're feeling, I promise you, other people feel the same way. You just haven't found each other yet. That's the beauty of music. Music, if you like an artist and somebody else likes an artist, it can bring you guys together in a way that you wouldn't have otherwise, because you both recognize, I like that artist. In a certain way they speak for me. Boom. They communicate for us, they bring us together. Use your communication for that. Questions, comments, concerns, complaints, criticism, critiques? Happy Tuesday. It will be, as long as we don't put any mayonnaise on our French fries. Try mustard, believe me.